is it.
Yeah.
It's games like Hired Gun proves to us that if the gameplay outweighs the flaws, then it could still manage to hit the spot regardless of the setbacks. What's up guys, this is Dr. Brute 7 signing in to talk about Necromunda Hired Gun. Set in the Warhammer universe, this game is developed by Streamon Studios. I hope I pronounced it right. And published by Focus Interactive. You start off as a merc who kills his way through groups of gangs by shanking, mutilating and turning them into piles of flesh. Sounds awesome, right? It should be, because it is indeed quite engaging to play, even though there are some
Getting out of here. You ought to too, Skinny. This train is headed for Orlok territory.
these kind of stuffs. I don't know how to explain it. Released on the 1st of June, this game sets place in the underground Hive City, a place of violence and anarchy, a place where Hades would definitely go for a fling, because it looks like Hades' playground. Now, Warhammer fans, please don't expect to see the Space Marines or the Emperors or the Inquisitors in this game, because this game is all about the gang wars in the underground city. The game heavily focuses on, well, apart from combat, I don't know, it's a bit hard to say what it exactly tries to focus on, because the story of the game is as shallow as a gold digger trying to talk about love. Splendid analogy. This game is like a one-night stand where you had fun, but that's all there is to it. You're a merc and you get double-crossed and you are trying to uncover a huge-ass conspiracy while someone is hunting the bionic implanted in your head. That's all I was able to make out from the horrible cutscenes and some hilariously weird voice acting.
Who are you working for? Where's the Silver Talon?
You're a dead man. Any moment now.
Shall we try that?
Hey, hey! You big lumps of stem blubber looking for some Orlok scum? Tell me!
Bruh, it seems the sound team just asked their old English uncles to read through the scripts and recorded them all together in a small room, one after another. Dude, they're just that bad. Oh, and you also got a Mastiff who you squeak to and she kills. You can also upgrade her. The graphics look dated. I have played this game on the PlayStation 5 and the texture details look very subpar. Enemy types are almost the same in the game. There's some pyromancers, brutes, man, those brutes are some ugly looking motherfuckers. Shockers, some generic looking enemies. To be quite honest, you'll be so busy turning them into chunks of meat that you won't really care. And their AI. God, their AI is as dumb as an eggshell. Despite of all this, the game manages to make its way as a very decent, fast-paced FPS shooter. This is Streamon's second Warhammer game, with the first one being a dud. But Deathwing's shooting mechanics were pretty good, which I think they understood and managed to make it a part of this game with some adjustments and updates. Even though it's not perfect, but still somehow managed to fall in place. The game plays and feels like a cheap knockoff of Doom, but in a good way. Just because it's a knockoff doesn't mean it has to be bad. Well, the game is very fast paced. Just like Doom, there is glory kills and you replenish health if you execute your enemies. They drop off items in a similar fashion they do in its superior counterpart. Also, As long as you're firing your gun and hitting your enemies, man, you're dominating because your health will keep on replenishing. You can also buy health packs at the beginning of each level and also stim packs at the beginning of each level as well, which would help you to revive from a death scene. Well, you can carry 3 at once. That's the maximum. There's elements of RPG in the game. You can upgrade your character's bionics and also your Mastiff as well, just like I said before. Weapon customization is very impressive for an indie title. You can literally change each components of your weaponry. All this can be done after each mission at the hub, which is Martyr's End. You can also take bounties and earn more credits if you want to fully upgrade yourself. You can also wall run, which is nice, but I think it's something which goes well with the PC setting because the wall running mechanics on the console just didn't feel good, at least for this game. However, the grapple is a very useful tool and you can practically use it on almost any surface. Just be careful that you just don't get glitched and end up somewhere where you don't want to end up, and you're gonna have to start from the checkpoint, which most probably would be at the beginning of the level. Yeah. Also, the double jump, just be careful when you're executing that because something like this might happen and it's not a very pleasant experience because the game is glitchy as fuck. Also, I have noticed that the fire input command lags in several instances, especially after reloading. It's as if the game can't keep up when it gets too intense. The same can be said for the execution animations as well. All these starts to show right from the middle of the game. Level designs of the game are, well, it's a mixed bag. It almost feels like the level designers tried to include a bit of everything but didn't know how to. The objective pointer is just dreadful. You have to press the touchpad to show the objective pointer, but it doesn't properly show the objective point of origin, nor it gets updated, and the level structure can get confusing and tedious at times. But I have to say that the environment detail is very impressive. For an underground setting, they managed to create some very impressive environments. That, the point goes to them. There is a total of 15 chapters in the game and it takes roughly 7 to 8 hours to complete the whole campaign, with chapter 8 being the worst and the glitchiest. Man, I had a terrible experience in that chapter. Add to those cloudy pitfalls with the dense ass objective marker. Well, there you go. A full-on combo of frustration with a dash of fuck you on the face. I mean, look at these things, man. I think I died the most in this chapter. Man, I just couldn't curse enough. From chapter 9, it all feels the same because at this point, the game has shown you everything it wanted to show, but despite of its generic structure, it really had me hooked because the gameplay was that fast and solid. The guns are fun to shoot, and there are some really mean guns which you'll get to use. Man, these guns are just as big as my You'll get to use some of the signature weapons from the Warhammer universe, such as the bolter, pulse rifle, bolt pistol, plasma pistol, and so many more. There are some heavy duty chain guns and shotguns as well. Shooting your way through piles of flesh and blood will give you the satisfaction, just like it did with Doom. All in all, I would definitely have to praise the studio and devs for trying to push themselves and create something like Hired Gun with limited resources and budget. Because at the end of the day, it is still an indie title. Even though the game lacks in the areas of story and graphics, but still it manages to fill the gap by delivering with a very solid and fast-paced gameplay. Also with some good RPG mechanics. It feels fast and old school while keeping the current FPS games in mind, games like this proves that you really don't have to be unique. It just so much reminds me of this one game called Alien Rage by City Interactive, released in 2013. I really enjoyed the gameplay, but it just didn't do too well during its time. Also, at times it reminds me of Alien Colonial Marines, that abomination, mostly because of the AI. For those who are thinking of buying this game, can either wait for a sale, or if you really want to support the studio, then you can buy it. Go for it, because its asking price, it's not that much for an indie title. And it won't be a waste of your money in any way, especially if you're one of those old school gamers and also trying to get something closer to Doom. It's gonna give you a very similar experience to Doom. For 53 Canadian dollars, I think it's not too much of an asking price, considering there are some well-known companies out there who are sucking out the money out of the community through their subpar and generic releases every year, and also through microtransactions. Well, that's the truth. Well, that is the end of my impressions video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, because if you did, please execute that like and subscribe button. Trust me, it won't glitch, but it would mean a lot to me. Dr. Root 7 signing off. Peace.